Good evening, Niles Vikings, and welcome to week 1 of remote learning. The purpose of this video is to walk you through the remote learning SparkNotes. Based on feedback from the formative assessment that was released last week, Tuesday, there is a need to make sure that everybody has a clear and concise understanding of remote learning, the expectations, and where we can go to get all that critical content. Before I review their SparkNotes, though, I just want to take an opportunity to thank all of you for all of your hard work in week 0. You all have moved mountains. And when you think about it, you've essentially redesigned school in little as 5 days. That, my friends, is no easy task. And while I know that there were high moments of frustration, you all have persevered to develop a very solid learning plan for our students over the course of the next 8 weeks. I couldn't be more proud to be a Niles Viking. As these weeks continue, we're going to learn some things. Communication will change. We will have to pivot. But we are all capable of doing hard things. And I am so blessed to be on this journey with so many wonderful, hardworking people. As these weeks progress, I encourage you to celebrate small wins. This won't be perfect. It won't be flawless. It's not meant to be. So please, along the way, don't get frustrated by the number of kids that didn't show up. Please celebrate the number of kids that did show up. As we progress, please feel free to email me, your administrators, or your PLC facilitator any questions. Or you want, just send me an email and tell me how your day is going. You guys are going to do wonderful things this week, and I can't wait to see the results. That all being said, I very quickly want to walk you through the SparkNotes and just make sure everybody's aware of all the different docs. I got several emails over the course of this week saying, "Bam, where is this doc? Where is that doc?" Well, they've all been located in the NCS Remote Learning Plan, but that's an 8-page document. So my goal was to get it all on one page for you. Up at the top, you're going to see this is the link for the remote progression of learning. The purpose of this document is to articulate what it is you want all kids to know and be able to do during these 8 weeks of remote learning. We might be on a shortened timetable and we might not be in our schools, but we still are going to work on those 4 PLC questions. You'll notice here I have the links for KC8 and for 912. Moving down this document, we're going to now talk about our remote learning lesson plans. And for a point of clarity, lesson plans and agendas mean the same thing. The reason that they're called both is that when you write them, they're your personal lesson plans. But then when you push them out to students, whether that's on Class Dojo or on Google Hangout, they're meant to be an agenda for the students. It's meant to tell them what they're supposed to be doing each day. It is very important that these are completed by 11:59 p.m. On Thursday. The purpose for this is that we need to push these out onto the district website. And this push out happens on Fridays. Our goal is by noon on Fridays. So the parents have a consistent place to go to find the agendas should they need this as an option. On your end, we ask that you personally also push out these agendas to your students by noon on Fridays. The exception to this timeline is for elementary-related arts, and we ask that you complete these agendas by 11:59 p.m. each Wednesday. Please review the folders and ensure that each week you continue to keep them clean. In particular, in elementary, we want to ensure that there are no personal agendas in here. It is the district level, grade level sheet that we are wanting to post to the website and have available for hard copies. For my secondary friends, please make sure, specifically for my PLC facilitators, to keep your folders organized. There are far more variables in your folders because of the multiple courses. So please make sure that this is organized in such a way that Linda could easily come in here and find the correct agendas in the correct week. Another doc that you will find useful during this time is the remote learning checklist. The remote learning checklist is really just to help you during this time ensure that you've made all the correct steps in order to implement remote learning. A couple questions I've had about this deck. First, this is where you will link your weekly schedule. You don't put the weekly schedule in any specific folder. It goes in column C of this deck under your particular tab. Another column that's really important in here that hasn't gotten much attention, but I want to make sure that I make it more explicit, is column E. Column E asks, on Monday, what % of your families access the agenda? If it's in secondary, we're also talking about students accessing the agenda as well. The reason this column is so important is that we do not want to wait until Friday when students don't turn the assignments to find out that students were engaged during the course of the entire week. Therefore, when you establish Tuesday, the number of students that have assessed the agenda, please contact those students and ask them what additional supports they need in order to access the agenda. This document is also important because it's where your administrator will go if there are tier 2/3 students that are not responding to you. These are friends who you've made multiple attempts and still, for whatever reason, are not engaged in the learning. At this stage, you might even know who those tier 2 or tier 3 friends are because of our 3 weeks of working through the packets. Maybe they are some friends that you haven't been able to get a hold of. So each week, go through each of these boxes and use this as an opportunity to make sure that you've got all of your pieces complete. Finally, this section down here is to help with the planning. As we know, part of your schedule is that you meet with your PLC once a week to help create the agendas for the grade level or courses. This link here will take you to all the meeting times and dates. If you notice down on the bottom, it's tabbed out by week. All that will change is the date and time. Some of you guys have already established your dates and times. Just make sure that when you meet is reflected in this doc. I will not be sending this doc out anymore, as my assumption is you will know to go to the SparkNotes in order to access when you will be meeting virtually with your PLC. And again, I can't sing the praises enough of our PLC facilitators who have been doing an amazing job with facilitating our virtual meetings. The 3 links down here are the same, except they're differentiated by grade level. And this is a new piece that I'd like to introduce this week. During week 0 and the Friday before we went to spring break, we were working with agendas. Now that the work is remaining pretty consistent, in order for grade levels and departments to document their PLC meetings, they will simply just fill out this form each time. It's very simple. It's mostly a checklist with a little bit of reflection. And this just gives us accountability and documentation that virtual PLC meetings have been taking place during this time. Finally, your expectations for weeks 1 through 8 are listed below. Please make sure you meet with your district grade level and department once a week to create weekly lesson plans / agendas. Provide whole group, small group, and one-on-one instruction each week. It's not enough to simply send out the agenda. There must be instruction that accompanies with it. Contact students who don't access the agenda by the end of the day Tuesday. This is a new requirement, which I don't believe was explicitly articulated in week 0. Provide one assessment opportunity in each of the following areas. Related arts is the only difference, and for related arts at the middle school specifically, they will only be giving 2 assessments. Provide feedback to students about required assessments once per week. Document assignment completion in PowerSchool. This was an area where in the assessment, some friends had some confusion about this. You should have 8 grades for the 8 assessments each week. So elementary, you're going to have 8 scores for math and 8 scores for ELA. Each course in secondary will have the same. If you need additional support with PowerSchool, please reach out to your assigned building person. Make sure that you contact students who don't turn in assignments. Complete weekly lesson plans by 11:59 p.m. each Thursday. Review and complete the remote learning checklist. Link weekly schedule and the remote learning checklist by 11:59 p.m. each Thursday. provide students with agendas each week by 12 p.m. on the Friday of the week before, and participate in virtual building meetings as needed. So there, friends, all on one page, this should be your one-stop shop for what your expectation and documentation looks like during remote learning. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, your building administrator, or your PLC facilitator. I hope everyone has a great first week of remote learning. Have a wonderful night, and as always, go Vikes.